Sacred sister, I welcome you to this full moon in Taurus. Of course, she is the lover within you. Taurus carries the energy of the great goddess Lakshmi, Jaya Lakshmi, who is born from the churning waters of feminine orgasm and rises up on the white lotus flower, which is the vulva, to offer the sacred beauty of the feminine essence into the world. That's what we're talking about when we're talking Taurus. She is not only grounded and anchored like the sacred Earth Mother, considering she is ruled by the earth element, but she is also very sensual, right? She is rooted in the five senses. She is rooted in her capacity to be here and now inside of her body through the sense of taste, delicious food, touch, delicious self-touch, delicious sheets, clothing, sun on skin. She is here to feel all the shades and all the patterns of this sacred life. However, of course, considering we are in the Samhain portal right now, so this is always the time of the sacred death of Gaia's energetic year. Taurus and Scorpio always pair together to mark either the birth portal, which happens at Beltane 6 months from now, when we will be experiencing the fullness of spring, bursting, blooming, expanding, the sensuality of the rebirth, all of the baby chicks and baby sheep and baby birds, rising up from the ashes, this rebirth moment of the year. We are, of course, at the flip side right now. We are at the death of the year, this grief portal, this energetic letting go, the leaves falling from the trees, weather growing colder, moving into the depths of the darkness, the darkest moments of the year. We are at that in-between life lounge, that moment between the death and the death at Samhain, the rebirth at the winter solstice portal. This is the darkest moment of the year when we are invited into all of the complexity of Scorpio. Of course, Scorpio is that energy of the water element, the deep, dark, shadowy, creepy lake energy, right? The energy of shadow work, the energy of transformation, death, depth, mystery, soul. So Scorpio always invites us into a deep potency of knowing our truth and coming into the mystery of ourselves, into the full depths of the truth, the deepest truth within us, the deepest truth within culture. And that deep water abyss is intense and can be really painful, can be really full of grief. So we have the depth of the alchemist, the witch that is Scorpio. And on the other side, her sacred beloved partner is the essence of Taurus, who is really here to, we could say it's more on the surface, but that doesn't have like a superficial, the connotation of superficial, lack of profundity, but instead an actual desire to be here in this body, in this moment, in this life. Earth element has that stable persistence. It's a materialization of form. So how do these two meet and merge? Well, in order to get there, let's start with the story of Lilith. Even though I started out with Goddess Lakshmi, really Lilith is our poster woman of the Taurus full moon. And so often she is known as she is really demonized in certain religious cultures as the devil, really like the demon, the feminine demon. And in fact, when we go back and we really dive in to to a fuller version of this origin myth, in the Garden of Eden, we see that Lilith is the snake that rises up to whisper in the ear of Eve, and not to say, hey, be bad, sin, go against the love that's in your heart, but instead to say, hey, mama. Snake comes up in her ear, mama, you are sacred. Your body is sacred. Your body is holy. Your pleasure is holy. Your love can be transmuted in this moment through your body, can be shared and gifted through your body. The sacred love of your heart is manifested into form, into the creation of new life through the act of love, through the act of sacred union with another. In this case, the act of sacred union between Adam and Eve. So Lilith invites Eve to take the apple. She says, look at that beautiful fruit of deliciousness. It is sacred just like you are sacred. It is born of this great, beautiful Mother Earth. Are you going to deny the gift of being a human? You are here in this 3D form to live. You are here to feel. Otherwise, you just stay in the spirit realms. You are here to feel it all. Where can you find your deepest power, your deepest truth, your deepest love? And Eve looks within herself. She looks within her own heart. And she sees that, yes, I am sacred. I am worthy. I am holy. There is nothing shameful about my body. Yes, this fruit was literally designed by Gaia to nourish my life force. Yes, what am I going to do? Deny Gaia? Deny the beauty of this creation? Deny the feminine life force that is Shakti, that is the dance of form? No, I'm going to embrace the gift of form. I'm going to embrace the gift of Shakti. I'm going to embrace the dance of life. And not only that, I am going to take a bite of this delicious apple and I'm going to offer it to my sacred beloved as an act of love. And even more than that, I am going to share the beauty of my body that I love like the earth herself with my beloved. And all of this through the wisdom of Lilith, the wisdom of the snake. So in order to really understand the way that Taurus, the lover within you, is calling to be acknowledged, seen, and celebrated during this full moon, we need to really understand the dynamic between Taurus and Scorpio, the alchemist and the lover, which equals sacred sexuality, sacred sensuality. This dance between Taurus and Scorpio is really, the way I think about it is like, it's beautiful to do your body oiling, but it's even more effective if you do a little body scrub first. You just, it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to go and, get some crazy, fancy, luxurious body scrub. You literally can take a crusty washcloth if you want, or a body brush, and you just do a light brush of your skin. You could even just brush like this before you apply sacred, beautiful oil to worship your own body, to connect with the sanctuary that you are, to ground your nervous system, which of course the oil is a powerful grounder of the nervous system as the fat goes straight to the nerves. And I speak this because the exfoliation first, or the exfoliation of your face before you put on oil or lotion, is what allows the oil and lotion to absorb. Scorpio is the exfoliator. It is the master exfoliator. And Taurus is the oil. Taurus is the face lotion. Taurus is the ways that we tend to our very physical being that is our home, our vehicle in this lifetime, and therefore is as sacred as any other temple we could ever create. It is in fact the first and primary and perhaps the only temple that all other temples aspire towards. So Scorpio exfoliates by calling us to our shadow work, right? So really, when we're talking about the dynamic lovemaking of Taurus and Scorpio, these two parts within you that are asking to be seen and integrated right now, we are talking about the life transitions, the upending, the instability of shadow work, diving deep into shadow work and like discovering, holy shit, like, who am I? And going through that grief and going through the deep inner dark night of the soul that is Scorpio. It is that allows us to step into the new manifestation or womb-manifestation of self. The womb, the new self, the self that is grounded and embodied here and now. That is Taurus. So let's think about the word incorporation or embodiment. These are all referencing incorporation. Corpus is body. So how are we incorporating our deep spiritual soul work? This is where Scorpio and Taurus cannot be separated. In order to step into the next possible, your dream, your vision, your truth, in order to embody the feminine leader that you are becoming, that you were born to be, in order to embody the abundant being that you desire to be, in order to embody the beloved partner that you desire to be, the talented and gifted teacher or writer or whatever it is, we do need to be exfoliating with our shadow work. And it is in the mystery of Scorpio during this time period of the year, we are invited into that. Of course, the year, the Gaia always teaches us about these astrological signs. And she is saying that the way that the death happens is the way that the rebirth will happen. So how we release a cycle, how we let death occur informs how rebirth occurs. And in a culture that denies death, so in a culture that is very actually uncomfortable with Scorpio, that just pushes shadow work out into the closet until it turns into like, hyper-consumerism and addiction and pornography, right? Instead, we are asked to step into our shadow work so that we can step into a full grounded expression of who we are. Taurus is really here and now in the embodiment of your truest and highest expression. We are asked to transform what is needed, the spiritual, the emotional, the 5D energy, to really achieve our soul desire in the 3D. So if you desire something, if you crave to manifest something in your life, the most potent way to figure out why you don't have it is to go into the shadow. What is it within us that actually loves this, that actually desires this? One of my favorite books for modern women is Existential Kink by Carolyn Lovewell, and it is really just like very old psychological science. It's actually really foundational Jungian work, which has been around for a long time, just synthesized in a new way, to say that whatever shit you're mired in, it's your sacred wound. It is here to work through so that you can manifest in the 3D and create that beautiful life that you were born to live. So when we surrender into the mystery that is Scorpio, we can stabilize into the new. We are offered the path to stabilize into the new thing, to stabilize into the new reality. Of course, when we can allow the grief of this moment of the year, the release of the grief and the letting go energy of the leaves falling and the death of the year and moving into the darkness, when we can truly embrace that mystery, we come into a new, like the death necessitates the rebirth necessitates the death. So of course, Samhain and Scorpio is the death. Taurus and Beltane is the life, mama. And how do we experience that life? How do we access that life force? that potency, that vibrancy, that radiance that is Venus, that is this feminine energy of the zodiac. We do it through our bodies. We do it through our bodies. So when we call on the lover within, we are not just saying, go have sex. That is not the message here, although that's great. Like, yes, 'tis the season, always, right? But what is really relevant to speak of for women on the path is, let's really acknowledge the intense trauma, the intense pain and wounding and armoring that has occurred around our physical bodies. So it's not as simple as to say, hey, go be the lover and embrace your lover. For the vast majority of women, that archetype is extremely challenging to access. And whether you are like a regular yoni gazing date, gazing into the depths of divinity, and in your like life-altering sexual healing journey with yourself, or if you look at yourself and you just see the goddess every time, or whether you are actually feeling yourself really caught in toxic beauty norms, or imprisoned by repression and shame, or disconnected from how you would even begin to connect with your body, or how you would even begin to turn yourself on. It is all welcome here. It is all part of the alchemy of this particular sign. We start where we are. There is nowhere to go. There's nowhere to get. It is not about achieving some life-altering sexual experience, although yes, that is on offer. Absolutely. That is part of the sacred priestess arts for sure. But it is about creating a depth of relationship with our own temple. Because it is, of course, only from the temple, from communion within the temple, that we can actually receive the guidance of Source herself, of Goddess herself. She speaks and she moves through our bodies, and that is how we feel her. We commune with her as women. And as if you watched the Scorpio new moon video, we were talking, of course, about the way that feminine sexuality and feminine womb power was specifically targeted as the foundation of patriarchy. It really had to hit those witch hunts first in order to solidify a culture that literally denigrates the feminine essence completely, right? And so never doubt the power of your own sensual experience, your sensual embodiment, and your desire and your sexuality to really catalyze healing and transformation for your own life and for the world. And I was actually just in so many pieces want to come through. I was just in sacred ceremony in a nature initiation process out on the land for the past week. Before a few days ago, I got back, and it's very much, that system is very much about embracing all parts of the wheel. And so there is like a whole sexual piece, and my guides were really like calling out like, calling out like, where, like, how are you getting sexually alive? How are you sexually alive to like all these women and people? And what I really kept calling out to them is like, that can honestly be a really intense place to start for a lot of us. And a more friendly, foundational, and actually or more profoundly effective way to anchor into your own lover is to actually just develop the relationship with your body through kindness. So if you are I will share the story also of a beloved woman I'm working with, an incredibly talented, creative being who has a lot of body image dysmorphia about her belly. And she's like, I hate it. It's not part of me. I hate it. And how many of us know that place? How many of us know that place? I can tell you that was my life for 20 years. I was extremely just delusional about my body and my relationship to my body, and mired in so much hate and shame. And then we question why Roe v. Wade is being turned over, or why women's rights aren't being respected. And we can always come back to as within, so without. So we as women actually have to embody what is it to hold our bodies as temples? What is it to honor our bodies as sacred portals for the divine? And it is only from that place that we can expect the culture to respect the bodies of women. It all starts here inside of our bodies. And that is through the most simple places. It is a lot easier for some women to just go out and fuck than it is to literally speak positive affirmations as we rub lotion on our skin. And that is an issue because then we end up outsourcing our lovership to a partner or to the world, or we end up repressing it or disconnecting from it. So my invitation to you for this integration moment of the full moon, where the lover Taurus meets the alchemist, is to step into sacred sexuality in your own body through whatever portal and passageway feels friendly and kind and loving and simple for you. So whether you ultimately decide to self-pleasure and to visualize the world you're creating for yourself as you do, start with the simple things. Give yourself a bath. Give yourself a walk in nature. Feel the sun on your face. Let yourself eat warm, sacred food. Give yourself the gift of going to the farmer's market and taking a look at all of the abundance and beauty that is there. And of course, it's it is, of course, makes so much sense that Taurus full moon comes right around the final harvest, which is Thanksgiving. And so because this gratitude energy of final harvest is the abundance of the feminine, it is the fruits of the mother's womb. So we are reminded by the harvest, what is it we can be grateful for right now in our body, about ourselves, about our self-worth? How can we value ourselves by stabilizing into gratitude? Because really the connection between Taurus and Lakshmi and gratitude is really all there, in that it is what is here now, and how can we appreciate that? And then that, of course, makes more of that. So through the sacred union of loving our body, through the simplicity of feeding ourselves, right? Tending our basic self-care, we are able to birth a new reality for ourselves where humans value themselves, where humans respect themselves. I was just with a client who is about to give birth, and she was talking about how already in this last trimester period, it's been hard to water herself, feed herself, and move herself in a way that feels healthy. And of course, we know if you've given birth, it just gets more intense at that point. And yet, this is the most foundational feminist activism we can ever do. And I'm speaking to all y'all Capricorn boss babes out there, all y'all self-sacrificing martyred mothers out there. This is what we are here for. Taurus is here to remind us, your body is sacred. It literally holds the seeds of a new earth. It literally holds the seeds of infinite possibility. And it is your responsibility and pleasure to find what brings you pleasure. So maybe that isn't crazy sex with your partner or self-pleasure. Maybe it is literally tending to your food, that 3D thing that nourishes you. And may it be all of these things. And may we really honor the tender parts of ourselves that arise when we meet our own lover within. In fact, I'm sure there are many women who haven't even listened to this video because They don't want to talk about the lover. They don't want to feel into that lover part of themselves. But let's remember, who's the true lover for you? Break down the boundaries of a consumer culture that is trying to sell you shit and trying to perpetuate some sex goddess as what the norm so that they can sell you more products. Where is this tender part of your own heart that might be armored or feel or enraged? And how can we step into the fullness of our embodied experience, which also means embracing all the emotions? And this is the message ultimately of Lilith, the sacred sexuality, sacred sensuality goddess, who is such a good example of the meeting of Taurus and Scorpio. She is saying, the 3D is sacred, your body is sacred, this life is sacred. Spirit is not separate from your experience in your body. So how can you worship at your own temple? How can you come into communion and sacred union with yourself first and foremost, before any other person, right? So wishing you so much love during this sacred portal where we are in this ancestral realm of exfoliating our shadows to awaken and expand into the fullness of our embodied, grounded, earthy abundance that is Taurus. Honoring you, sacred lover. May this meeting of the witch within you and your own lovership bring you deep communion with Spirit.